Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of the Cyberman show. Today we are going to learn about MCP servers and their increasing usage in cybersecurity. We're going to talk about basics of MCP, how it works, the components, benefits of using MCP, downsides, as well as how cybersecurity vendors are implementing MCP. And in the end, I'll give you my understanding and takeaway of how this is going to impact the market. With that, let's get started. So MCP stands for Model Context Protocol, and the official definition states that it's an open protocol that standardizes how applications provides context to LLMs. Think of MCP like a USB-C port for AI application. So just the way you have a device or a laptop that has USB ports, and you can use the USB ports to connect third-party external tools like a monitor, a disk, speaker, etc. to the laptop. It's a standard way of connecting third-party tools to your laptop, okay, or a device. Similarly, MCP is a protocol that allows AI models, especially large language models and anything that uses them, like your agents or any other applications, to access and interact with third-party tools, essentially data sources, tools, and services. So model context protocol essentially means protocol that allows to give more context to the models or anything that's using the model. That's the simplest way of understanding MCP. Okay. Now, how this works is it is a client-server model, and typically you will have a host. So it has components like host, servers, clients, and external tools. Okay. So a MCP host is essentially a program like a Cloud Desktop, ID, or any application that allows to that wants to access data through MCP. And then MCP client is it's a protocol client that maintains one-to-one connections with servers. So example, if you are using Cloud, which I use, I have multiple MCP clients running within my Cloud agent for desktop. And you can do this for Copilot or any other modern LLM client. Then MCP server is essentially the backend service that acts as a standard intermediary between AI models and external data services, tools, etc. So this essentially is any web service or any application that wants to expose a functionality. Think of it as a wrapper for APIs that are exposed by the service. So for example, in a very simple use case that I use MCP for is my DMAT broker. The one that allows me to trade stocks has exposed MCP servers. So what I can now do is, instead of logging on to my DMAT brokerage account, I can use the Cloud MCP client or the Cloud client, the Cloud Desktop tool that I use to fetch my holdings, understand them, do an analysis, things that I used to do manually by logging on to the that DMAT broker's account. I can now do it automatically or easily on my Cloud, which I use for day-to-day work. Okay, so that's MCP server, and then you have local data service sources, or as well as your external data sources. This local could include your computer files, databases, and services that these servers can securely access, and external systems are external services like internet or other things that you can that MCP can connect to. Okay, so what this does is it allows you to easily access your third-party applications using a natural language that your LLMs easily understand. Okay, now this also introduces a new layer in the architecture, because these components are new in the entire AI architecture. So it has an impact on security, which means there is a security aspect to it that we will cover sometime later in the podcast. Now, just to summarize what we have learned so far is that MCP allows you to connect a third-party application to your AI application, or a third-party tool to your AI application, essentially more context. I give you an example of using my Cloud Desktop or my Copilot Studio or maybe Google Gemini also to connect to these MCP servers and use natural language and interact with the data that it is exposing. Okay, so that makes my life easy as an end user. Now, the benefit of this approach is that it allows AI agents to go beyond just having conversation and actually perform action and access live data in the real world. Okay, so example, in same scenario where I was using this my Claude client to download my holdings. So on a weekend, I typically have a routine where I look into what's happening in the stock market, what's happening with my portfolio. I don't have to log into my desktop to my stock brokerage account. What I do is I just log into my Claude client. I ask a query. I typically type it in natural language, and I ask them to analyze my portfolio, look at what's going up, what's going down, how's the portfolio doing this week versus last week, etc. Okay, so that makes my life very easy. So something that I used to do in few hours now takes few minutes. Okay, so that adds makes my life easy. Additionally, what I can also do is I can take that data, put it in different format, compare that data to some external data, some best practices, some strategies that I want to do, and it enhances the way I'm using the the trading account. Okay, now. So that's how MCP servers are useful. Now that's more of a non-technical way. But if you look at technical things, what MCP allows you to do is it eliminates the knowledge cutoff. So typically, as you know, all LMs have a knowledge cutoff date, and they're limited by this date and the training data provided in that period. But with MCP, providing real-time information is very easy. Okay, and it ensures that AI responses is always fresh and relevant. Also, because of this, the hallucinations are reduced. You can expose your specific data, your personal data or your enterprise, depending on the use case, as well as internal documents and domain knowledge, making it more useful for enterprises. Okay. Also, it enhances the capability. So one, MCP not only allows AI to go beyond generating text and videos. It can be used to actually perform actions. So example, in my case of my stock trading account, it allows me to sell position, reduce positions, etc., add new positions. In terms of the enterprise infrastructure, it allows you to send emails, create issues, update records, run scripts, etc. So this essentially leads towards more of an agentic AI world where you are pursuing the goal for autonomous execution. Also, multi-step workflows are much easier because AI with large context can chain together multiple tools, perform data retrieval, and hence execute multi-step workflows that automate some of these tasks. So example, it can get data from a CRM, generate a report, that send an email, log an action in the database, etc. Okay, makes my life very easy. Also, if you have that data, you can do custom reporting that you might not be able to do in your native CRM. Okay, you might be able to create new tools and new softwares on using this data set or the use cases to enhance the capability of that or the value of that data. Okay, and it also lowers the barrier to building and using AI-driven workflows, because one MCP server can be reused by many different AI assistants and platforms. So today, for example, my Claude can access the service that's providing MCP. I can have another application that can just connect to the same MCP. I don't have to re-implement multiple things. This is called solving the N into M problem, where every time I want to use a tool from technology perspective, I don't have to do a manual integration. MCP makes that life easier. Okay. Again, I'm not going to go into details of MCP. There are tons of videos available everywhere, and they go deep into architecture and implementation, right? We are here to talk about MCP from cybersecurity perspective. Okay. Now, the downside of MCP is that in the overall architecture, this is a new layer, which means the attack surface is much larger. Also, in the rush to implement MCP, what developers are doing, as I've been hearing, is they are exposing all those APIs that are there in their tools and converting them using some of the automated tools into MCP, which makes it complicated for LLMs because they don't know how to use those APIs properly. and how to use the context window to implement. Okay. Again, as I said previously, this is a topic for different discussion. Now let's talk about how MCP is getting used in cybersecurity. So I'm sure all of you remember Copilots. When Copilot as a technology started coming out, a lot of vendors started implementing Copilot, and one of the common use case that I saw is you could use the natural language to work on the platform itself, on that cybersecurity platform, query the data, use it for threat hunting, etc. And those capabilities still exist. Now, what's happening is that in last 1 quarter at least, what I've seen is at least the top vendors, and now more vendors every day, they are launching their MCP server. So example, what I saw is that both Palo Alto and Checkpoint launched their MCP servers for firewall with the intent that the analyst who's working on this firewall system can use natural language to query firewall policies, automate the response workflows, run reports, etc. Okay, I also saw that Google launched their MCP servers so that the analysts who work on the Google SOC product, as well as the Google Threat Intelligence product, they can use natural language to interact with these systems. Similarly, multiple releases done by Wiz MCP for real-time insights, automated remediation, launched by Cloudflare for doing SaaS posture checks, network automation, remote MCP hosting. And similarly, every day I'm seeing new releases by vendors. Okay. Also, Netscope, for example, they use or they support the natural language to manage the infrastructure. So now how it works is, let's say you're using Claude or any other tool that supports the MCP clients, you configure the MCP server in your AI chatbot or AI client, and then you start using it to interact with your tool. You don't have to log into the console of the platform to work on that data. One of the common examples that you can see, it came out a few weeks back, is Savient, for example. Again, no association with the vendor, just that I read about their MCP server recently, is that Savient, that offers the identity cloud, and their main use case is identity governance and administration. They allow users to use natural language to access the identity data that's residing in their platform. So now the user can use the cloud client, connect to the Savient system, and ask for specific information. Example, they can download the information related to users, accounts, application roles, and entitlement, correlate it without going through it or writing a technical query. And then they can ask it to create a custom dashboard or report that's not there by default in the product. And this could again be aligned to organization policies, organization templates that can also get fed into the Claude. So let's say you have a PowerPoint template, as well as you have a standard reporting format for your organization. You can upload that to Claude. Now you run a query on Savient or any other platform that supports MCP, and in few minutes you will have a report that's that's in the same format that your company uses. So it enhances the way you're looking at the platform. The second thing that it does in Savient is that it allows you to get explainable context to uncover unrisky patterns and recommendations to strengthen the identity security of the organization. So it gives you relationships and access to the linkages that's not there in the platform by default. Okay, so you can uncover new things because now AI is processing that data. Okay, and again, you can also trigger the governance workflows from the AI agent if you want. Okay, so again, what MCP allows you to do is manage day-to-day operations, as well as query the data in natural language, and it's all dependent on the functionality that's implemented by the MCP server provider. Similarly, I've seen MCP servers from Palo Alto, Splunk, Wiz, etc. Go ahead, just type the name of the vendor, and you can say, let's say, Checkpoint MCP server, Palo Alto MCP server, and you'll find these companies providing MCP servers. So what essentially will happen now is people will not develop their co-pilots. Some of them are already there. MCP will be the new way. Okay, which means if your organizations are allowing you to use these tools, they will become standard. The way you are using ChatGPT or any other AI client to leverage AI, you can use the same client to now do your day-to-day cybersecurity operations and analysis. So this is an amazing use case. What's going to happen from the cybersecurity perspective is a different story, because it's a implementation needed, which adds another layer, which means securing MCP is another issue that cybersecurity vendors need to talk or consider about, as well as we might also not know that how many tools are exposing MCP functionality. So there could be a shadow MCP problem that could come later in the future. With that, thank you so much. I hope this was useful. Drop me comments on YouTube or my email. It's all there in the description. And with that, I'll see you next time. Thank you.